second lap. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Batflip Podcast 150 from Iowa Speedway. Race number 2, the Harpoons Design Chase for the championship. Tate Lytle opened up the championship hunt with a win at Darlington last week. David, welcome in tonight. Who's going to take it here at Iowa?
Yeah, hi, Dom. Getting ready for our round 2 of the chase at Iowa, and I'm really excited for this one. I think you got to stick with Tate Lytle, right? I mean, in terms of just a championship favorite to start the chase, he's going to have the most momentum coming off of that race win. But as we kind of transition into looking at the points, we have a clear front 4 that are kind of jumping out ahead of the rest of the group. Tate Lytle, Kwame Scott, Nick Indelicato, and Nick Massey are the kind of the 4 that are looking to make a run at this championship. They started off the best of everybody else, and then behind them, it's a kind of a cluster of a bunch of guys who are maybe one win away from being right back in the hunt. But for now, you know, they're going to be playing catch up, and they're going to have to be a lot more aggressive in their strategy.
Absolutely, it's going to make it really interesting here tonight. Big surprise, Tate Lytle atop the points now with that win, so he jumps ahead of Kwame Scott, who's led most of the way this season. We'll see if Kwame can rebound here tonight.
Big news on the points front as well. Ryan Lutz and Hank Steinmiller both missing this race here with just a couple of minutes left in practice, so unless one of them shows up right at the last minute, that's 2 chasers not going to be here this week. I know Hank's is a temporary absence. Ryan Lutz, maybe a little bit of drama after the way that race ended last week. So, you know, just it's 2 guys, 2 very fast top 10, top 5 drivers suddenly out of this Iowa field, and that includes the guy who dominated the last time we were at Iowa, as you recall last season, Dom. Gerald Campbell snuck by Ryan Lutz with a late caution and a late pit call. But Lutz led, I think, like 130 or 140 of our 150 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure here tonight. Winding down the last couple minutes here of practice.
Yep, we'll have to see if anybody can step up and into that Ryan Lutz role here at Iowa. You know, we've seen a lot of these races kind of go back and forth with a big chunk of our top drivers all running very close together. But Iowa is a place where you can really spread out, where guys who manage their tires the best can really get a big lead. So I would not be surprised to see somebody, whether that be Tate Lytle, Cameron Rich, Nick Indelicato, maybe R.C. Anderson, who's here tonight, one of those guys just, you know, kind of step forward and take over this race. It's certainly possible, and I expect a lot of green flag racing at a track like Iowa. Looking through the field, we have both R.C. Anderson and Jeff Green racing with us tonight as Green drives by on the screen right there. Jeff Green, the 2000 Xfinity Series champion and the former Cup Series driver. So good to have Jeff with us. He's masqueraded into ERSCA a few times in the past couple of years, and just want to point him out that he's with us once again. We'll be watching the Yoo-Hoo colored number 38 car. It's worth on practice speeds. Tate Lytle does have the fastest lap in practice. Nick Indelicato second on the board. Josh Adams is third on the practice board. But the track is sitting at 124 degrees. So it's definitely slick out there. These guys are going to be struggling with grip all race long, as you see Harrison Talon spin down the front straightaway to emphasize my point there a little bit.
Yeah, they're going to have to deal with this Midwest heat. We'll see who can deal with it the best as we wrap up our practice session. Get ready to move into qualifying.
And qualifying is going to be vitally important. As the tires fade on these cars, it gets extremely difficult to pass. And the saving grace is that if you do kind of overcook your tires early in the run, you can run that top lane and just make it a nightmare for a faster car to get by on the bottom of the racetrack.
Gerald Campbell going to be one of the first ones out here to register a lap time as he gets his 31 car up to speed.
Track temp still at 124 degrees. I would look to see a bunch of guys wait all the way to the end of this 5 minutes to try to hope that maybe the track temp drops a degree or two to give them just a little bit extra grip on this qualifying lap. Campbell choosing that top groove. One of the beautiful parts about Iowa is that you have a bottom groove, a top groove, a middle groove, 3-4 lanes in the middle of the corners. You'll see guys 2 and 3 wide. The problem with Iowa, of course, is that once those tires wear just a little bit, the top groove and the middle groove kind of becomes dominant, and then nobody can really make a pass because everybody has to run that singular fast lane. Early results, Campbell is in at the fastest time, but only 6-7 drivers maybe have taken time thus far. It's a fairly small list. Guys waiting on pit road, trying to wait out this track temperature.
Jared Mogard has now gone to the top of the charts as we reach 14 cars. And as they say that, Wyatt Nadel jumps ahead of him. He'll put the 84 car to the top, and now here comes Ethan Burrell and some of the other playoff drivers that we would expect at the top.
Cameron Rich to the top of the board. I envision you'll hear his name called again in a few minutes when we ask about the picks. Rich, absolutely one of the guys who could take this race over and potentially, drive through and make this thing a bit of a bore, as it were, because Rich very, very fast in these Xfinity cars. But just now jumping onto track, Tate Lytle, he'll be a pole threat. Scott Crump's going to be a pole threat once he gets his qualifying lap in. I believe Josh Adams, who's also going out on track right now, will be as well. Ethan Burrell did not get much practice time, by the way. Only 3 laps in practice for that 37 car, and yet he sits at second on the board right now. He's definitely working around a tougher work schedule, and he started off the chase pretty poorly, but I think Ethan Burrell is going to be one of those guys that we could see step it up later in the chase when the tracks kind of come around to his liking, especially because we've gotten Ryan Lutz off to a bad start and some of these other guys. It's going to be all down to Ethan Burrell and whether or not he can win some of these races going forward. There's Vincent Isabella to the top of the board. Vincent won the pole at Rockingham earlier this year. Told me it was one of the first poles he's won in a league, First pole he's won. Yeah, Tate Lytle second on the board. Isabella throwing down a 24.202, which is nearly one of the fastest laps that's been run on the track, and some of those practice laps that were a little bit faster were run in a much cooler condition. Tate Lytle not able to improve on that. Nick Indelicato out there right now. He'll be one of the ones threatening to get that pole from Isabella. Nope. He's down in 19th. So these guys struggling to adapt to that looser condition, and Isabella able to snag the pole from not running in the chase.
Yeah, Matthew Bayuk was one of the final ones to qualify here. He comes across in 15th. So that should set the top 15 or so. We'll see where I think Harry Talon's the only one that's not registered a lap. Should wrap up qualifying.
Daniel Martinez threw together his second lap right there. Not faster than his first lap. He'll qualify into the top 10, Will Martinez, but that will not be a faster lap than he'd already run. And that will mean Vincent Isabella wins his second pole of the season. That will also mean that Ryan Lutz and Hank Steinmiller do not make this race. and only 10 drivers will be highlighted in red once we do get the scoring pylon up. A few errors here at the beginning, but those will sort themselves out, I believe. Now for the starting grid. As we go through this, we can also make our picks. Isabella on the pole, Tate Lytle. Qualifying second, Cameron Rich. Qualifying third, Ethan Burrell fourth, and Matthew Weeks rounding out the top 5.
Looking through the rest of the order, Nick Massey will start in 10th. Couple of not really too many chase contenders there in the top 10.
I would argue, though, a race winning contender there in RC Anderson in 11th. He's very good in these Xfinity cars. Anytime he shows up, you circle his name as one of the guys who could steal the win. Even if he doesn't run for the championship in these series, he's always going for the trophy.
Haven't been here in a while. Good to see him back with us.
Also, Gavin Hibbs coming off that 5th place finish last week at Darlington, despite being 2 laps down. We'll look for Hibbs to maybe not go 2 laps down this time and try to run that good run without the attrition that he had to deal with last week.
Matthew Bayuk will start in the 15th position, while Scott Crump, James Cedar, a couple of guys that have shown some speed throughout the season, start right in front of him. Mokart will start 17th, and Delicato will start 20th.
Seth Rawls there in 23rd. He'll have a ways to go, but he is the top driver that isn't in that top 4 among those point getters. So Rawls will really need to make up ground here from 23rd if he wants a chance to cut into the points lead of Tate Lytle. On back, Mark Whitley qualifying 26th. A bit slower for that 77 car than we've seen him of late. Same thing for Kwame Scott starting 31st.
Yeah, the regular season champion's going to have his work cut out for him here tonight. He's going to have to start deep in the field and make his way through. We'll see how well that works out for him.
With that, Dom, who you picking here tonight?
Let's see. Well, let's change it up. I'm going to go with nope, you know what? Just decided to change my mind again. I'm going to go with Matthew Weeks. He had a strong run last week, showed a lot of speed. Let's go with him this week. Going to change it up here with mix it up in the championship with him being a non-chase contender.
Very nice. I'm going to go with the guy who hasn't really had the qualifying runs this year. He might get mad at me. He hasn't had the qualifying runs this year, but he starts 10th tonight. Give me Nick Massey in this one to, the hot track. Going to suit that 48 car real nice.
I'm actually going to go with 2 picks. One pick is going to surprise everybody by choosing Cameron Rich to win. And my second pick is I think Goody's going to have a race where he's not going to hit the wall.
Ooh. I believe it. Raced around Goody a good bit here at Iowa, and he's always pretty clean. This season it's tended to be a bunch of bad luck on that 30 car, but he's had some decent results.
Ooh, one final question. Will a playoff driver win tonight's race?
Dom says no, and a playoff driver's not on the pole for this one, so I think it's very possible.
I think if there is somebody, it might be that guy on the outside in the 56 car.
Well, I'm sure we'll say his name plenty.
And the guy right behind him, Cameron Rich, as we get ready to go green.
Isabella shoots off early. Good start for the 15 car, that Michael Waltrip throwback. Cameron Rich and Tate Lytle will battle for second into turn 1.
Backflip Podcast 150 here at Iowa underway. Good battle for the second position as they come out of turn 2. That'll sort itself out. Lytle will have second, Rich to third, Burrell in fourth.
Yep, and I watched this 56 car. He's going to be saving his tires a little bit, but probably in a way that runs this 15 down. Vincent Isabella with that huge hot lap here in qualifying. Can he hold on to the lead? Vincent, very good at Iowa. Definitely a guy who's gotten results here in the past, but definitely not one of the guys you'd expect to be up here running for the lead. It's 3 wide mid-pack. Scott Crump in the middle. Among others, Wyatt Nadel on the top. I think that's Matthew Bayuk at the bottom. Give it to the outside lane. Seems to be the preferred groove at the moment. If you're going to be side by side, you want to be in that top groove. Josh Adams swinging by you, losing positions here early. Not the way you want to start a race, especially if you had a mediocre qualifying effort.
Tate Lytle, as we mentioned, was the race winner last week at Darlington. Cameron Rich, mid-pack effort, finished 14th last week. Ethan Burrell had a very rough race, looking to rebound here with a solid finish and a great starting position here early.
Yeah, big qualifying effort from Ethan Burrell. That's absolutely huge for his result. He's been kind of qualifying a bit more on the poor side. As Tate Lytle looking to the inside of Vincent Isabella for the lead. Isabella fires it off into turn 1, and he'll retain the lead for now. You got to envision, though, that 56 car running the very bottom of the racetrack and able to generate that much power, that's a car that is going to be very good in the long run if Lytle can run that low and still, be that fast.
We're only 2 races in here to the championship, but it's got to already be making these other 11 drivers very nervous that Tate Lytle is sitting here in the second position already and just comfortably going to click off laps here for a little bit until we get to that halfway point where he can fight for those halfway stage points and try to pick up another 10 bonus points.
Just got my eye. Mark Whitley pounded the wall coming off of turn 4 that last time through. This time he's been all over the back bumper of Jeff Green, looking 3 wide. Whitley having some trouble climbing his way through the field, and that's one of those guys that is fighting for this championship and has that red banner, the red spoiler. But he's having some trouble right now. That car has hit the wall. He's going to have damage as Cameron Rich is fighting for second on Tate Lytle.
One guy already on the march. David, usually one of those patient guys, but looks like he's got the throttle down here a little bit. Nick Massey up 3 spots already into the 7th position and is running down Ty McIntosh here for the 6th spot. And another 2-3 laps might be having a side-by-side battle for that position.
My pick there from 10th. I noticed Nick Massey doesn't usually make those good qualifying runs. He runs it more like Matt Kenseth used to. Start at the back, end up at the front. You don't know when he got there, but he did, and he had to have done it somehow, and then, some of those races he does end up winning. When Massey shows some strength in qualifying, it catches my eye. Having watched, these races for almost 2 years now, I can definitely, notice that a guy like Nick Massey at this kind of racetrack, that's a good, solid strategy, and he's, with those championship hopes coming in, he's got to keep Tate Lytle close. He's got to keep, some of the other guys at bay. As Lytle got a huge run off turn 2, and he'll sail it by Vincent Isabella and take the lead, give it to Tate Lytle.
Crossover move here for Isabella, though, out of 4. They're going to drag race back to the stripe. Isabella has it by a car. Half a car.
Tate Lytle now in the preferred lane, though. Isabella will have to run the bottom. Hasn't done that yet. Lytle was much stronger down there. They'll still be side by side down the back straightaway, and Cameron Rich hasn't really, jumped in there and tried to take advantage of either one of these guys.
There's half a car there entering 3 as well. We'll see what it comes out of the line. Back to the stripe this time. Give it to Tate Lytle by a nose.
Barely got there. Did Tate Lytle, and I do believe you get a point for leading a lap. Vincent Isabella fighting hard, but Tate Lytle does take the lead over, and now Cameron Rich fires it in for second spot. Isabella's car seems to wash up just a little bit more than some of these other guys who can run that bottom groove and maintain the speed that top groove provides down the straightaways.
Rich looking to try to close in that gap, take away second. Burrell hanging back there in 4th, and Weeks just a little ways back to round out your top 5.
There's a little gap behind Nick Massey right there between himself and Chad Bear in the 91. Right behind Bear, though, R.C. Anderson is up to 9th. Josh Adams has now driven into 10th, and Adams started 19th, so he is on a absolute tear early in this race. That 95 car, the black car, he's worked his way forward really well, but he's out of the kind of cluster that is this giant group of cars back in the mid-pack. Seth Rawls, Kwame Scott, Mark Whitley, and Jared Mogard, all championship contenders right here, side by side, 2 rows deep. Really trying hard not to get into any incidents here, because that would just even further hurt your potential to make up any ground. I even noticed that Seth Rawls has damage on the right rear of that car, and we saw Whitley get his damage.
Yeah, and I was just looking through the field 15 laps in. He was tied for a minute. Now it looks like he's got the spot. Biggest mover right now, Kwame Scott, up 10 positions, and actually he's side by side right now with championship competitor Seth Rawls for that 20th position.
You've got that guy moving forward in Kwame Scott, one of those top competitors, but one of the guys moving backwards the wrong direction and yet still in frame here. Nick Indelicato has fallen to 25th from that 20th starting spot. Already a bit of a questionable start in qualifying run for the 0-1 car. Looks like there's a little bit of right side damage on it as well. I think Nick Indelicato might have gotten into the wall, and so Iowa really playing kind of the Darlington almost that we were expecting last week, where, you know, a long green run, but you had some guys slapping the wall, making driver mistakes and mental errors. Not something I'm expecting to see from Indelicato.
And actually, now that we look at this battle, we have half of our playoff field right here together with Kwame Scott, Mogard, Rawls, Whitley, and Indelicato all together right here.
It seems like this is they've broken up in half, right? You've got the top group, and they're all in the top 7. They've driven away from everyone, and then you've got this group here who's just fighting and clawing to make up as many positions as they can. There's no cautions guaranteed in this race, though. I mean, you've got potentially, 130 more laps until this race is over, so there's no guarantee that there's a caution. There's no stage break here in ERSCA. You've got to make sure that you don't go a lap down, you don't have a wall hit that costs you the strategy. Making these mistakes early, you can come back from them, but if this thing goes green for the whole way, I mean, Nick Indelicato is looking at a ton of points lost.
The group now starting to close in on Scott Crump and Jared Campbell. Kwame Scott continues to pick off positions.
It's a 19th from 31st starting spot, so he is flying forward. Looks like there was some sort of an issue in qualifying, and that's gonna cost you. Maybe Kwame got it a little aggressive there, coming out of turn 4. Very easy to do here at Iowa, especially if you're trying to hot lap. Just over rev it, spin the rear tires, lose that nose and spin out. Kwame Scott having to rebound from that. He bypasses Gerald Campbell up into 17th, so he's still marching forward. He's going to try to clear Campbell. Almost. Got him there. I think I am ahead of Carlos on that top screen. Oh, no. I was looking at Mogard. He was a little ahead of where I was. Mogard and Kwame running very similar paints these days. All I had to say, Kwame is clear into 17.
Yeah, really, this is where the best battles on the track are at the moment. The pack up front kind of single filed out like we saw early at Darlington. As we continue to watch these guys, Daniel Martinez, the next one on the list here for Kwame Scott. And Martinez is one of the guys that have gone the opposite way since the race started. He started up in the 8th position, has fallen back to 16th, and might get past here in a second for 17th.
Mark Whitley hit the wall again off turn 4 and then got run into by Dylan Thomas. So compounding that right side and rear damage on that 77 car, and now it is quite crinkled in the rear of that 77. So Whitley unable really to claw his way through the field. And while all that's happening, Nick Indelicato is now down to 26th. He's lost a spot to Garen Turner.
Couple of guys struggling here early, hurting their playoff chances.
Kwame Scott has gone around Daniel Martinez. Looks like there may be a problem with that 9 car. He is on the bottom of the racetrack, and they have caught him in a hurry. Campbell now to the outside of Martinez. Crump is kind of blocked in behind him. Mogard trying also to move forward.
This is a big run here for Kwame Scott early on. Just 2 cars in front of him is another playoff driver that he can kind of put in the rearview mirror. Matthew Bayuk sitting just ahead of James Heater, right behind Wyatt Nadel in the 14th position. So Kwame looking to pick up some extra points here on these guys. Plenty of time here too with him sitting in 16th. He's only got to pick up 6 spots to get into a position to pick up a couple stage points here halfway through, with still 50 laps until we're there.
Right. If remember lap 75, end of lap 75, we get our top 10 get points. 10 points to first place, on down to 1 point for 10th place. And that'll have big implications here in this chase race, especially as Tate Lytle continues to lead. Vincent Isabella has not fallen off of Tate Lytle. He's been able to keep Tate right at 2 to 3/10 of a second. Behind him, it's been a stream of drivers that have been there since the beginning. Ty McIntosh is falling off a little bit. Nick Massey has bypassed him for 6th. Then there's a group of 2. R.C. Anderson and Josh Adams are kind of just running together, about 3 seconds behind the leaders. And then there's a group that's 5 seconds behind the leaders, spearheaded by Chad Bear and ending with Kwame Scott.
Also kind of interesting to note there in that top 5 to 6 range, Ethan Burrell has fallen off the group pace a little bit here as he's fallen back to 5th. Now Massey going to try to take that spot away and put him back to 6th. As Cameron Rich takes a look at Vincent Isabella, and that's going to open the door for Matthew Weeks.
Yeah, battle up front suddenly started to heat up there. I think Ethan Burrell might have gotten the wall just a little bit. Whatever it did, it slowed him up pretty dramatically, as now Matthew Weeks able to go after Cameron Rich. Weeks had been holding station behind Ethan Burrell there for most of that run. Now that 11 car seeming to come to life here late in the run, and Tate Lytle's kind of starting to pull away from Vincent Isabella a little bit. That lead is now up to half a second. Rich able to hold Weeks off for now, unable to, though, to get around this 15 of Vincent Isabella, who is trying to show that pole run no fluke. Oh, Vincent almost got the wall right there, so maybe overdriving it now just a little bit as those tires start to wear. I know Vincent's maybe one of his bigger struggles is that he tends to start losing the car in the longer run. Those tires just go away on him a little bit.
And while these 3 continue to battle, Nick Massey is quickly closing in. He's going to draw himself up to the back of this here soon if they can't get by Isabella.
But Cameron Rich does clear Vincent Isabella. Now Matthew Weeks to the bottom of the racetrack. And Isabella doesn't really fight him here. Well, he does. But he's just running that top groove. I think Matthew Weeks will prevail here eventually. Also, Johnny Thomas falls out of the race with a connection issue. So, disappointing result for sure for the league owner.
Unfortunate there for Johnny.
Weeks now to the top of the track, and that opens the door for Nick Massey.
Yeah, Massey took a peek there underneath, couldn't make anything work.
You can watch too, right? The way these cars are running this racetrack, each driver has their different approach. Nick Massey's approach, to me, looks the most tire saving. Massey is approaching these corners to run that bottom, apex late, and drive it up off the corner with a straight wheel. Oh, and we're going to get a caution. That will ruin all the talk of tires. And Matthew Weeks will get 3rd. Oh, that's a chaser.
Seth rolls around.
Rain. Caution is out. Get a look at what happened here. Green and Rawls coming off the corner. Green looks like a little bit of netcode maybe. Netcode, maybe a little bit of a misjudgment on Green's part. Came up, and all of a sudden hooks Rawls to the left. I think Seth Rawls gets away with this without making any contact, besides the contact from Jeff Green, so he may be okay. Green hit the inside wall pretty hard. Everyone is down pit road for fresh tires. I think we will see nobody taking 2 tires right here. I think everybody's going for 4. we go. Tate Lytle first off pit road. Cameron Rich, I believe, is going to be second, then Weeks, then Isabella. So coming off pit road the way they came in. And that lead, that half-second lead for Tate Lytle, erased with this caution. But what that does do is it catches Kwame Scott back up to the front of the field here. That catches Josh Adams and R.C. Anderson up to the front of the field. Give us some of these faster cars some opportunity to be able to make up that track position. Adams even got Ty McIntosh on pit road. Josh Adams up to 7th from 19th starting spot.
The 95 car is definitely on a mission here tonight.
Word from Hank Steinmiller is that he's taken his talents to Myrtle Beach. He's trying to bring back the speedway. Like a little pre-planned vacation there on Hank Steinmiller's part, but trying to chip in where he can. Taking a look through the field, Cooper Johnson started 12th, running 12th. Bit of an uneventful race for him. Matthew Bayuk, one of the chasers, sitting in 13th. And right behind them, Wyatt Nadel in the 84, and then it's Kwame Scott, who has cut his deficit by starting 31st. He's cut it in half. He is now 15th. Nick Delicato will restart 22nd. Seth Rawls will restart 32nd. Mark Whitley fixed a lot of that damage. He's back in 33rd. Those guys going to be playing the long game, hoping that this thing ends up being a lot like Darlington, where the cautions breed cautions.
All right, looks like we're going to go green here next time by.
Yep, we'll reset the running order. Tate Lytle, Cameron Rich, the front row. Matthew Weeks and Vincent Isabella, they'll be 3rd and 4th. Nick Massey, Ethan Burrell will be the 3rd row, 5th and 6th. Josh Adams is up to 7th. Ty McIntosh is 8th. Chad Bear is 9th. R.C. Anderson will start 10th. That's active IndyCar driver R.C. Anderson. Gavin Hibbs is 11th. Cooper Johnson 12th. Matthew Bayek 13th. Wyatt Nadel 14th. And Kwame Scott rounds out your top 15. I suspect this restart has an opportunity to be pretty strong in terms of chaos.
All right, green flag back in the air. Tate Lytle going to take advantage of the restart here.
Rich clears for Vincent for second. Oh, Isabella hit the wall. So did Ty McIntosh. Vincent drove it in there anyway. Hoping that 15 car sticks. Josh Adams 3 wide to the top. It's almost the same exact thing as Cameron Rich goes for the lead and gets it. Too many battles on track to count. Nick Massey to 5th. Rich to the lead. Tate back underneath him. Isabella to 3rd. Massey to 5th. Adams 4-6th on Burrell. Anderson to 8th. Scott up to 12th. And Isabella going for second on Tate Lytle. Cameron Rich shot out of a cannon on this restart. Adams running that very, very top groove, trying to get some momentum off the corner. He'll cut to the inside of Nick Massey. So Josh Adams on the move. forcing Nick Massey out of his comfort zone and up to the top of the racetrack. We did get word that Johnny Thomas can join us in the booth. So I certainly wouldn't mind bringing him in here for the rest of this race. Johnny Thomas, David in the booth. What happened there, man?
Hey guys, I decided to put on my coat and tie and join you guys up in the booth.
Well, we love to have you.
No, I don't know. I had some type of internet issue. I think Becky was down there watching too much Netflix. I don't know. I haven't had too many issues like that with internet, but
And we got a caution.
we got a
wreck
crash.
at turn
Big
4.
crash.
James Heater, Garen Turner, and more. Did that suck up any of our chasers that had fallen back in throughout the field? Looking for Seth Rawls. All right, let's see what happened here. Johnny, was it loose out there, man?
On the long run, it started getting loose. Not too much early on in the race. Like right now, it shouldn't be loose. But as the tires wear, as you put laps on them, it's going to get a little loose.
Nick Indelicato is the one who takes a big hit in this one in terms of chasers. And yeah, that's how it seemed. It seemed like the older the tires got, the more these guys struggled with the handling. Looks like a mistake there between Garrett Hibbs and Chad Bear. A couple of guys not really running this series full time, and winds out taking out a bunch of good cars. Garen Turner, a hard hit into James Heater. Started
like,
when Hibbs and Chad Bear.
Yeah, it looks like Chad just misjudged the entry there and got into Hibbs.
I would say we should go on board with Jared Mogard as well. Yep. I'm pretty sure it was Mogard who shot the hole here. Oh, baby. What a move. Also, this is actually the perfect timing, Johnny. I think we just lost Dom because of internet connection.
Well, I'm glad I filled in for him. He saw me leave, or he saw me
back.
join, and he just left.
He's back now, but be careful. For what it's worth, Vincent Isabella did climb to second before that caution came out. Also of note, Matthew Bayuk and Kwame Scott have climbed to 10th and 11th to join the front group of chasers. Dom, are you back with us, buddy? Maybe not yet. Trying to take a look at Nick Indelicato's damage, but that 01 car looks pretty badly beat up. That may be a fairly huge swing in the points, where one of those top 6 guys that we kind of talked about earlier, the top 4 guys we talked about earlier, one of them already having major problems in this race in Indelicato. Tate, Massey, and Kwame Scott all still in the top 11. So Indelicato quickly losing that advantage that he gained on Seth Rawls, Mark Whitley, and others. Johnny, how's the passing? It seems like it gets real difficult to pass after a few laps, and guys are really even.
Yeah, David, it tends to even out here after about 10-15 laps into the run, where you just kind of stall out, especially on the bottom lane. You know that once the guy's going to the bottom and you got a guy on the outside, it's going to be hard to make the pass. I think that's where Indelicato kind of got himself struggling there, as he qualified so bad that it was tough to pass, and you know how is even 15th to 30th on back, that it's still a dogfight.
Well, you say that. Kwame Scott has driven from 31st to 11th, almost entirely on that green flag run. He was up to 15th before that caution flew. I still feel like Indelicato must have hit the wall at some point. We didn't get a good shot of it, but that puts him back there. Him and Seth Rawls both. They kind of hit the wall, got put back there, and that's what's led to their issues early in this race.
Yeah, Nick got in contact while I was actually still in the race with I think it was Guerin, and he had some right side damage that probably did slow him down a little bit.
There you go. Pace car drives off. We're under green once again. Cameron Rich jumps out once again. Seems like he's got these restarts nailed down in that 47 car. Adams clears Massey. Kwame Scott has driven into the top 10. He clears Ty McIntosh. And now teammates battling for third. Matthew Weeks going around Tate Lytle. Kwame Scott just took 9th from Bayuk.
One thing you gotta take into consideration, David, is that we only gave these guys 4 sets of tires in the pit, so lap 50, a lot of them already used 2 sets up. We just gotta be aware of that.
Ooh, buddy. I've only seen everybody come down pit road one time, so I would hope that these guys only use 1 set, but Adams almost hit the wall as he clears Tate Lytle. Josh Adams has flown through the field from 19th to 4th, and he's going after Matthew Weeks now. Josh Adams has a hot rod in this 95 car. I think the 11 and the 56 probably saving tires, maybe the 48 as well. But Josh Adams is rolling that top groove right now. Rich leads. Isabella still second. He has run consistently in the top 4 here tonight. Then it'll be Adams. Then this battle for 4th between Weeks and Lytle. I think it's going to be won by Lytle. Nick Massey and Matthew Weeks will now fight for 5th. That's right in front of Ethan Burrell, R.C. Anderson, and then Kwame Scott, the regular season champion who qualified 31st. He's up to 9th. Massey getting a little high right there, and that high lane is not the lane Massey likes to run. He likes to hook the bottom. So he's a little uncomfortable out there, but he does use that outside line to clear Matthew Weeks and into 5th. Josh Adams about to take second over from Vincent Isabella. He's right on the tail of that 15 car. Johnny, did you feel that the high line was a more tire burning lane to run, or could you kind of maintain up there with the wear of the inside lane?
Yeah. Sorry, David. I've been working on this computer, so I apologize for not speaking. But yeah, the high lane is going to burn the tires. I talked to Tate early on in practice, and if you see Tate, he's pretty much running that bottom lane a lot. The top lane is going to burn him off. It feels really good, though. It's very tempting to get up there in the top lane, especially in 3 and 4. 1 and 2, you're going to see everybody in that, that bottom lane to middle lane. But 3 and 4, it's tempting to get up there, but it's going to burn them up.
That's interesting because Josh Adams has been 3rd groove since the drop of the green flag here in this run. Adams charging forward and looking for he got 2nd right there, so wonder if the tires will fall off of this 95 car here at some point.
And what a good run for Josh. I mean, you guys have seen the struggles he's had this year. He actually didn't participate in a few races based on his results. And Iowa, I know I've been teammates with Josh. Iowa's one of his favorite tracks, and he's starting to roll up there. It'd be good to see him get a good run.
He's certainly got one right now. Though Tate Lytle's car is starting to come alive after that restart. And you and I have both run with Tate a number of times, and he loves to take it easy on that first couple of laps after a restart. And then he just wakes up and he's able to just go, go, go.
Yeah, you don't want to see Tate up there in the top 3 early on in a run. Typically we see Tate, 7th or 8th early in a run, and he starts marching his way forward. But if he's 3rd, these guys better watch out.
Yeah, I think Tate Lytle's got something for him tonight, but Cameron Rich does too. That 47 car looking awfully stout here since he's gotten the lead. That first run, Tate had been able to take over and pull away. This run, however, it's been all Cameron Rich. Coming towards the end of the stage as well. End of lap 75, so just 14 laps. Cameron Rich, Josh Adams, Tate Lytle have pulled away from the rest of the field. Vincent Isabella side by side with Massey, but I think Massey's going to clear Isabella right here.
Yeah, Cam had a tough day last Monday, and he needs all the points he can get. 10 points would be very beneficial to him coming to lap 70, 75, 76.
Yeah, and what's big for Tate Lytle, though, is he's sitting there in 3rd. He's not going to lose a big chunk of points to Cameron Rich right here, because Rich is able to pull off this, or potentially pull off this stage win. It's not going to harm him. Massey's right here. Kwame Scott's going to get stage points as well. So, the 3 big names all up here. The only one Cam's really going to gain a lot on is Indelicato.
Yeah, David. One thing that I kind of compared our chase to is the chase of old in NASCAR, and it seemed like, I'm sure you remember, every 10 races, every race in that 10 race stretch, you kind of eliminated one guy. I'm not going to say we're going to eliminate 8 guys like we did at the first race, but there is a gap between 1st through 4th. With Indelicato, he's going to struggle the rest of the race. I think he's running 31st, 32nd right now. You could say, it could be a 3-horse race as you see RC get really loose.
Mm-hmm. And what we saw last year, right, Johnny, was that you had to be essentially perfect. Ryan Lutz's worst finish in the chase was 8th. So what I expect is that's what it's going to take once again. So can Kwame Scott have a bad finish? Last week he was outside the top 10, but he had such a big lead going in that it still means that he's here, present in the top 3. Tate Lytle so far 1st and running 3rd.
Yeah, I think I did. First year, I think Nick Massey, when he won the thing, had like an 8th place average finish, and I think Lutz beat that. I think he was like a 6.5 or almost, I think, cracking the top 5 as an average finish. This year, who knows? I think, Massey, Lytle, with how Kwame's been running, you're going to have to probably put up top 5 average finish in these 7 minutes.
Yeah, and if one of those guys can kind of be perfect, have all good runs in this chase run, that's going to be pretty much the nail in the coffin, right? But if you're Cameron Rich, you can't go out here and expect for them to just run great every time. You have to try to capitalize, and Nick Indelicato showing that all it takes is one mediocre qualifying run. Kwame Scott's 3 wide right now, so this could go awry really fast. Weeks on the bottom, Isabella up top.
Oh, they are close.
That's real tight right there. Yeah, they've been going at it here for the 5th, 6th, 7th spot. Isabella trying really hard not to lose the sniff of the top group here that he's running all day, but he will yield the spot to Kwame Scott. And every single point that Kwame's able to pick up here is one more that he's going to be able to, not have lost with a 31st place qualifying effort. What an incredible drive from Kwame Scott to get up to 7th from 31st in the first 75 laps of this race.
It looks like he has something for RC too, so maybe Kwame gets up to 6th here before the stage ends, or halfway ends.
McLeod has just come over the track as well. I think that's going to turn the wick up a little bit on these lap times.
Yeah, that'll tighten the cars up, especially on this long run when they're starting to get free. RC hits the wall.
RC narrowed it up. We know RC. He's driving it all out right here. He always is, and
yeah, hopefully RC doesn't think we're getting a caution halfway. He doesn't do too many of these things. He's driving it pretty hard.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Gavin Hibbs, one of the ones involved in that last wreck, went to the garage. Pretty much everyone involved in that wreck is now the last 5 cars or so in the field with heavy damage.
Good run for Matthew Weeks. I mentioned Josh Adams' struggles. Weeks has been in the same boat for most of the year. Just missed out on the playoffs, but I feel like when you look at other Matthew Weeks seasons in ERSCA and other leagues, I think this is a down year. So RC gets in the wall again.
That was big. 6th place for Kwame Scott.
He's gonna pull a little slide job on him, and he'll clear him.
Kwame's got that thing rolling too. Oh, there's a car in the wall.
Speaking
RC cleared high.
Pounded.
RC drove it high there, and Weeks was above him. That's some pretty big damage on that 50 car. Matthew Weeks now to the bottom. Isabella trying to push RC by Weeks. Oh, Isabella got hit by Bayou. That's gonna
sends Vince way up the track.
That's your pole sitter getting shot out of the canyon there. Now he'll be 3 wide again. We've seen Isabella 3 wide about 7-8 times today. This is all coming right down to the green and white checkered flag. I think we're on the last lap here. So Cameron Rich has pulled away to a 2nd lead. This is the battle for 10th. Scott Crump has it. Isabella wants it. Jared Mogard would love to get in there and get a stage point.
Bayuk's looking for one more point. He's in the chase, trying to get past RC, and he's limping that thing around, hoping for a caution.
RC's got a bunch of right front damage, but he's still able to keep pace. Cameron Rich wins the stage. Adams 2nd, Lytle 3rd, Massey 4th. Coming to the stripe, Crump does take a spot away from Bayuk, so Bayuk only able to grab that singular point. And then Isabella Mogard just outside the top 10. Kwame Scott 6th place points. Ethan Burrell 5th place points. 5 of the first 6, all chasers.
Tate's trying to reel in Josh Adams. He closed the gap there by about a 10th the last lap. Same with Nick Massey up in 4th, right behind Tate.
Yep, those 2 guys starting to eat into Adams, and we did talk about how if this run went... Oh, there goes Isabella into Bayuk, and I think that might have been a little bit of payback there. You bump me, I'll bump you.
Yeah, Bayuk sent Vince up the track a few laps earlier, and Vince repaid the favor there.
Yep. Didn't appear to be any more than what he was given.
Let's see what Bayuk does now. He's only a car behind. Are they evened up?
Yeah, I would call that even. On my book. RC Anderson's fallen to 10th. How about Dylan Thomas? Driven up to 11th here in the other Michael Waltrip throwback car.
Lots of guys like Michael Waltrip in this league. You know, we had about 5 during the throwback race. They're still carrying it on board.
Also, is this lead lap Mark Whitley up in 14th? Now Mark might have gone to get tires the last time through because he had to fix a lot of damage. So I'm willing to bet Mark has extra tires.
If this goes green, David, it should work out in his favor. And the one thing you hate to see when you get a set when nobody else does is a quick caution after about 10, 15 laps because then you're screwed on that set. But Mark's trying to work his way up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's cost me a race on Thursdays, and it's certainly the kind of thing you don't want to see. But if this thing goes green all the way, Whitley can even stay out a little bit longer and hope for that caution.
Speaking of Thursdays, David, did you make your announcement that ERSCA's partnering with you for Thursday night OSCA coming up here in a few weeks?
No, I'm really excited to rep the league. We announced the paint today. So hopefully we can get that thing in victory lane. I'm really excited about it. I'm really thankful to you for partnering with me, and we got some big shoes to fill. Johnny Eckert, the admin, was the guy last year for ERSCA, and he won the championship. So
Johnny tore it up last year, and so big shoes to fill, David.
No, he did retire, so it does open it up for me. But I got the likes of Nick and Delicato to deal with, as well as Vincent Isabella, Dylan Thomas, and some of these other guys. So. Yeah, there it is.
Nice looking car. What was behind that car? What were you trying to portray?
We were going after a Jeremy Mayfield paint scheme. I was listening to the Dale Jr. download with Mayfield, and I was wanting to to run a scheme to support Mayfield. This one is his 2006 scheme. Thought it fit with the ERSCA colors, kind of the black and red. So I thought it would work really well, and I feel like it's gonna look sharp out there.
You immediately saw when that sun popped out, the cars went right back to being really, really tail happy. RC got a little bit loose. Cooper Johnson's moving his way up through there. It's a good run for Coop.
Cooper's the man. He's driven it up to 11th here. Bypassed Dylan Thomas and RC. Or not Dylan, sorry, but he bypassed Whitley. Bayou and Vince are still side by side back here, by the way. Though they've run clean since that bit of payback. And in my book, that's what you got to do on the racetrack. You can't go overboard, right? You know, somebody bumps you, you can't spin them back. But somebody bumps you, you bump them, there you go. You know what I mean?
It's fair now.
On back, looking through this field. And Dallas Myhan's the one who's kind of caught my eye right at the back of this pack. He's up 12 spots from 32nd to 20th.
Got some smoke on the track. I don't know who it was. It was on the tri-oval. I don't know if it was somebody multiple laps down, but I'm not sure who could be up the pace.
A couple of notes to clean up here. Kwame Scott is up to 5th now. He has bypassed Ethan Burrell. Matthew Weeks and Scott Crump are battling side by side for 7th, and Crump has driven up to catch Weeks. Jared Mogard has entered the top 10. He is now 9th. And then, you know, we've seen some of these guys fall back, but Mark Whitley, the one kind of on the charge with the fresher tires, he's up to 12th. After a kind of a miserable start to the race, Whitley's been able to come back and rebound nicely. He's just got to hope that he doesn't regret losing that extra tire set.
Yeah, so it looks like we've ran about 40 laps under green. I don't really know how long these guys can go with fuel, but I'd imagine we're going to see somebody
sideways up too.
That was Josh that got sideways there.
Yep, Josh Adams almost lost it. An incredible save. You know, Johnny, we don't sell any good hands move of the race or anything. We maybe should sell some sponsorship for that. So
it's a good idea.
There you go. The 3-wide TV move of the race. Josh Adams making the save there off turn 2. He'll retain 4th, but clearly the tires on that 95 car have kind of gone astray.
Well, there goes Vince. Vince is around by Bayuk.
Oh, man.
Going to bring out the caution.
They were racing very hard for a very long time. And despite the 2 bumps, it seemed to be pretty clean racing, so we'll have to take a look and see what happened there. Oh man, that looks incidental too, which is kind of a shame because it was a guy who's already run into another guy. See, Vincent just kind of enters the corner in that second lane. He knows he has to go to that second lane, and Bayuk also committed to the second lane.
Yeah, that's tight racing right there. Vince thinks Matt is going to go down to that first lane, and then Bayou thinks that Vince is going to go a little bit higher, and they kind of just meet in the middle.
Yeah, and Iowa, you've got that there's a huge bump right where Isabella's car is sitting right there, where if you try to run that same lane that you run that high groove in 3 and 4, the car will bounce off of that and shoot up into the wall. So you can't really run that far outside lane. You have to run that middle lane. Vincent knows that, and he knows if he hits that bump, he's not going to retain that position. So he tried to run the middle, and it didn't work out for him.
Yeah, in the same instance, that bottom lane in 1 and 2 is really bumpy. So you only got about 2 lanes to work with, 1.5 lanes to work with in 1 and 2 to get your car set there for the exit. Close race out of pit road.
There's gonna be some. Yeah, Rich beats Lytle off pit road, then Nick Massey 3rd, Adams 4th. Kwame did not pick up any ground. He got caught behind a couple of different cars coming in.
Yeah, I'm gonna join the race control real quick, and then I'll be back. I'm not gonna leave the channel though.
Johnny got to address some race control info.
David, you got me?
Yeah, we got you, Dom.
Had a computer go out on me, but we're back. I've been pulled up the stream while I was gone, so I was listening to you two, kind of seeing what I missed. Number one thing I got to say, after you listen to any of our Belly Up Sports podcasts, go check out that Jeremy Mayfield podcast, because that was something to listen to.
It absolutely was, man. And it's one of those where I'll let everybody make your own assessment about what happened to Jeremy. But man, I sure feel like he got jobbed. I don't feel like he's the kind of guy who is off doing methamphetamines. I don't know.
Let me tell you, like we said, we'll let you make your judgment on it or whatever, but it's quite the story and the detail he goes into it makes it pretty hard to believe that it's all made up.
Right. And that there's a lot of stuff going on, kind of behind the scenes, and the reactions of NASCAR. It does make sense to me, just the way stuff was happening back then. It was always very fishy, and yeah, I don't know. You got Ray Evernham, and they don't even mention it, but Ray Evernham was dating one of his drivers while he had a wife, and there was all kinds of stuff going on, and it was a very sketchy situation that feels like it shouldn't have gone the way it did.
Regardless whether you want to believe one way or the other, it's still a really good episode to go listen to.
Absolutely. I'm on Tony Uri Jr. right now. It's the one this week, and it's been really good.
Yeah, it's the best racing podcast out there. And it's fortunate. Last year or 2 years ago, we had Jeremy run an all-star race with us. It was really, really cool seeing Jeremy up, and he was actually in our Discord, joined our Discord. Super laid-back guy. So it was really neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love Jeremy, and that's why being able to run one of his paint schemes to kind of represent ERSCA in OSCA on Thursdays is a really great opportunity, and I'm really excited about it.
Dom, it might be a Midwest thing. I just got your message here saying that you have internet issues. I'm having the same thing, so I don't know what's going on. No storms in the area either.
No, same here. So I don't know what the deal was, but good to go now. Hopefully to the end. So.
Yeah, hopefully. But I'm also in the Midwest, and I haven't had anything thus far today. So.
What's your provider?
I got T-Mobile internet, so maybe that's why. We got the satellites working today. No clouds.
Up and running.
Cameron Rich did retain the lead off pit road. Everybody's going to have fresh tires, and I believe that there is no chance that they can't make it on fuel from here. So these guys are going to be racing to the end, and how chaotic it gets is still to be determined. Green flag back out. Tate Lytle does clear. Nick Massey for second. Adams jumps back to the top side. He's going to try that outside line once again.
Kwame Scott just slammed the door on Ethan Burrow.
He crossed Ethan up big time.
Adams to third. Massey trying to run that bottom, but that top is so powerful on these new tires that Massey's kind of getting sucked up into the rest of the field and run over because he wants to run the bottom. He wants to save the tires in that 48 car, but he doesn't have the track position that the 47 and the 56 do. Kwame's going to take fourth away from Massey, so the march forward by that 99 almost complete from 31st up to 4th.
Massey's going to be put back here to 6th. I think he's just going to ride. Tate's going way high in 3 and 4.
Hey, Lytle choosing the top. You don't see that very often. He went defensive against Josh Adams. Did not want to lose that track position to him again, because we saw it last time when Lytle got behind Adams. When Adams' tires started to fall off, Tate still couldn't pass him.
Yeah, and Tate's a smart guy, and he knows if Josh is going to pass him, and if caution comes out, Tate's going to restart on that inside lane. And you don't want to be there on a restart, as these guys are going to freight train you on that middle lane for at least a few laps, as we see with Massey.
Yeah, Tate's also going for the lead. So I think a couple of things have clicked for Tate right now is that there's only 60 laps to go. So he needs to get the race lead if he can get it. And he also needs to not get caught behind Josh Adams if he can help it. Because it seems like Adams' tires went away a little bit faster than Tate's did on the last run, and it cost Tate about a second of time to Cameron Rich. And then you've got Kwame Scott right here, who we have no idea what his car is capable of compared to these leaders.
It's been a heck of a charge, though. It's been pretty unbelievable. I mean, we just hit the 100 lap mark. And he's, I don't know where he started, somewhere back in 30th or so.
31st. From 31st to 4th for Kwame Scott. Isn't really putting any pressure on Josh Adams for now. And this front group is kind of singled out. The battle is back here. Mark Whitley, Gerald Campbell running side by side for 10th. Matthew Bayuk also in that pack back there. Looks like Matthew Weeks got a speeding penalty, by the way.
Yeah, Weeks is back in 20th. He did have some damage. They made contact. I don't know if it was RC and Weeks, or I'm not sure who it was. So I don't know if he tried fixing that.
Oh, yeah, he just got into Dallas Myhan back here, and they're out there 3 wide. Rawls, Enerson, Myhan. All kinds of stuff going on way in the back of the field. And Delicato's up to 23rd. He's trying to come back.
Racing everywhere. Not only do we have a chase race, we got best of the rest. I know Weeks wants that. And I think Crump's the man to beat for best of the rest, but you know, we see Dylan up there in 8th. I think Josh is eligible. He's running 3rd right now, so best of the rest is still a tight battle.
As I recall, Adams was wiped out last week, though, so yeah, he's not off to a great start. Tate Lytle's lost a little bit of time the last couple of laps. Lost a 10th last lap. Cameron Rich just starting to pull away.
I'd like to give a shout out to old Kyle Hanshaw. He's running 19th, 20th place. Pretty good run for him. I want to mention Kyle because if you guys turn on CBS on Saturday night for the SRX race at Sharon Motor Speedway, Kyle's going to be flagging. So pay attention to that. Kyle's the flag man at Sharon Speedway. So you'll be able to see him if you tune in on CBS. I think these races start at 8. It's the finale for the SRX series.
That's awesome. Got him running right there next to a guy who you know, was qualifying for the Indy 500 last year. All kinds of the actual racing talent.
Yep.
Amongst this league.
I'll be at the SRX race. Going to be watching that, seeing who can win the championship.
That'll be fun. Yeah, Tony Stewart, Bobby Labonte, some of those other guys, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman. Love to see it. Maybe the worst part about being there is you won't get to listen to Alan Bestwick in the booth.
I know. That's one less race I get to listen.
I'm paying attention. Cameron Rich did not go faster than Tate Lytle last time by. He was faster than Tate Lytle this time by. So they're kind of trading, you know, faster laps. And Rich is able to kind of hold Lytle right now at about a, you know, yeah, it was just that lap 106 that Lytle was faster.
I think Kwame has peaked. I think 4th is about as far as he's going to get, which is still extremely impressive. But these top 3 guys, I think, have it figured out, and you got to look at Massey too. I'm sure he's saving his tires, and he looks like he's working on Ethan.
And Matt, the hard part is passing, and you're seeing the problem with Massey's strategy, where he's like, yeah, I'm going to save my tires, and I'm going to get him back later. Well, now Massey can't pass Ethan Burrell, and he's losing time to his 2 teammates there in Adams and Scott. It's hurting him having not run the tires just a little bit harder to keep, you know, Ethan Burrell behind him.
And he's burning the tires doing this right now, so it's kind of nullified.
A couple of shout-outs here, though. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just going to say Scott Crump's joining that mix now because Massey can't get around Ethan either.
And coming up to him is the guy I was just going to mention, Jared Mogard here in 8th. You know, last week had some troubles. Was one of those guys who's kind of out of the chase picture, but the Daytona winner is sitting here in 8th, and a strong run for Mogard. He'll need more runs like this, and he'll need a little bit of trouble from those guys in front of him.
Morgan had a strong first race, but he got caught up in the the demolition derby in the final 30 laps of that event, and took him way out.
I think he was like up to 5th at one point, but one of those big wrecks knocked him down. Dylan Thomas up to 9th, and then Mark Whitley with a really strong recovery drive into 10th. He was down and out at the start of this race, back in the 30s, a lot of damage. Very good recovery.
Massey took a look underneath Burrell there, couldn't make it work. He'll try again out of 2, and Burrell will still hold the spot.
Josh Adams is now back to a second behind Cameron Rich. Tate Lytle cut into Cameron Rich's lead last time.
Massey just got pretty loose coming out of 4, trying to get underneath Burrell that time.
You can't drive down the hill here at Iowa. Very difficult. The tires will spin and you'll go for a ride.
Tate relayed some information to me. When we get to Atlanta in a few weeks, he's going to be racing from a hotel, so I think he's a little bit worried. He's trying to rack up as many points as he can. He's going to have his little portable Logitech G27 with him, or whatever he used to run. He's going to be racing from a hotel in a couple weeks, so that's going to be a nerve-wracking race for him. So I understand why he's trying to, win each week.
Man, hotel Wi-Fi, that's going to be scary.
Probably almost better to run a hotspot if you have a good phone.
We'll see. If he can get it wired, he might be okay, but I don't know if they do the Ethernet cord in those rooms. Nick Massey cannot get around Ethan Burrell. I mean, he has tried for the last 10 laps. He can't do it. It's not like that would be the best way. He's it's not like Ethan's like blocking Massey or intentionally running him any certain way. It's just that Burrell's line is very difficult to make a move on because he's getting so much momentum off the corners.
Tate's down to 4/10 right now.
Every couple of laps, Tate eats into the Rich lead, and then Cameron just kind of beats in the next 2 laps. It seems like it's 2-1 in favor of maybe more like 4. Oh, see there, Tate beat him that time. So just every so often, Tate really eats into the lead and then starts to fall back a little bit.
Kwami's working on Josh too.
Yeah, he's closed in here of late. Got it down within about a 10th now.
We'll see if Kwame, Josh, and there's Tate closing on Cameron. Kwame's closing on Josh. Nick Massey's on Burrell.
Cameron's having issues.
Massey trying that top lane on Burrell. That 48 car just cannot get to a point where he can make a move. I'm wondering if Adams will roll over for a little bit for Kwame here and let him go by at some point, the bigger picture of the chase driver. But
yep, they are teammates in multiple leagues as well.
I don't think Kwame can necessarily catch Tate and Cameron, especially at this point, but that extra point will be big, I think, coming down the stretch here. Just past 30 laps to go, though. We're kind of quickly closing in on the end of this race.
Don't jinx it, David. Come on.
Well, we're hoping for a clean one.
Every week in the admin booth, Johnny gives us ETAs on when the race should end, and it never plays out like it should. He'll radio in and be like, about 10:55. I'll be like, perfect. 15 minutes later.
Ends at about 11:30. I don't know if there was an incident with Robert Hill there or not. Probably was. He fell pretty quickly down the order. I did want to shout out the Matthew Weeks' progress. He's up to 15th, and I was just going to say something about Trey Holmes up to 16th, having a good run in the 24 car. He about spun it off of turn 4 right when I was going to talk about him, so I'll leave it at that. He's having a good run. That's it. Also, good run for Wyatt Nadel up in 12th. A couple of fueled up racing Chevys. Here's Chaser Seth Rawls, who's got damage and got spun, is trying to claw his way back up into the rate running order, and got his teammate Nick Indelicato kind of cracking the top 20 right there with him.
Yeah, and Delicato, these are one of these days where if somehow he does win the championship, he'll look back at this race. You know, he could have finished 31st, 32nd, and by getting up here in the top 20, at least gaining, 11 points, he at least, survive this week if he does become in contention here when we hit Homestead.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll have to reel in Daniel Martinez in the 9 car now if he wants to pick up another spot.
25 laps to go now here in this one.
Also, another pass that has been happened involving a chaser. Mark Whitley is on the outside of Dylan Thomas. They are currently side by side. Whitley currently going to clear Thomas and pick up that 9th position. So another point for another one of these chasers who had a bad week last week and hoping to rebound, and he's done just that.
I think Kwame Scott is starting to run into the same problem his teammate Nick Massey is having. He's closed in on Josh Adams a couple times, but just hasn't been able to make a move and make the pass for 3rd.
Really tracks with what Johnny said earlier, which was after about 10 or 15 laps, the ability to pass on the bottom of the racetrack just seems to go away here at Iowa, and you're just kind of stuck. And the only way you can really make a pass is if the guy in front of you slips up, gets loose, hits the wall. With good drivers like Josh Adams and Ethan Burrell, they're so consistent. That's just never going to happen.
Yeah, in this top 10, it's so hard for these guys to make mistakes. I've learned that, and I've witnessed it. These guys are good in the top 10 each and every week. You got to hit your marks every single turn.
Cameron Rich has started to gap Tate Lytle again here a little bit and got it up over 8/10 now.
Yep, Rich just, and we'll see if this lap traffic has any effect on it, but if I was observing, as I've been observing this, I think Tate might have burned the tires off it trying to get to him.
Yeah, and if I'm Cameron Rich, I'd be hollering on that radio to just get out of my way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're racing side by side.
Vincent Isabella and Harrison Talon there on the tail end of the lead lap. Vincent's been in the wall very hard. Of late, you'll also have, those two are about 9 seconds behind the next driver, so it's just these two in terms of lap traffic, I think, for Cameron Rich.
Harry lets him go pretty easy.
I think Vince will probably do the same. We have seen Vince be, and Vince does kind of hold it on the outside there. We have seen Vince be pretty tough on those leaders, and it's worked out for him. It did give Tate Lytle a little bit of space, I think, on Cameron Rich there, where Rich couldn't pull it all the way to the wall. Nope, Rich still went faster that time by. And Tate leads a second. We're about to have a battle for 9th. Mark Whitley's about to get after Jared Mogard. Thought better of it there entering turn 1, but Whitley has caught that 0-0 from pretty far back, so we'll see if Mark Whitley's kind of saved the stuff and has anything for Mogard. Here he comes. Just seems like passing on the bottom on old tires.
It's virtually impossible.
Next to impossible. And Whitley's much faster. He caught Mogart from a ways back. But all Mogart has to do is just run that top group.
Yeah, Mogart's pretty. He's one of the harder guys to pass in this league. So he's not gonna give over for Mark, especially two chase guys.
Absolutely, and I mean that's Mogart's spot. I mean, and when we say these guys are defending their position, it's in no way a bad thing. These guys are driving their line. The preferred line is the outside groove here at Iowa. Mark's up about as far as I've seen anybody get in the last 20 laps on a pass. He's really working hard for this one.
It's going to be interesting to see how Nashville correlates with Iowa being another concrete track. Will Cameron have another successful run? Tate be just as strong? Will we see the same guys up front being a concrete surface?
Yeah, for what it's worth, we ran the ERSCA finale at Nashville Super Speedway, and it really felt like after the first couple of laps there was just nowhere to go. And all it was it seemed very similar to this in terms of you just had to wait for the guy in front of you to make a mistake. That one also went green for a long time and wound up being a fuel strategy race in one of the halves as well. So I could see that happening again here in ERSCA.
Cam has done a great job. I felt like just toying with Tate there when he was 3-4 tenths back, and Cam has really laid it on him now. He's growing that lead pretty good.
I think back to the beginning of the race here when I mentioned that Ryan Lutz wasn't racing tonight. Someone was going to need to take over that Ryan Lutz role. We weren't really sure who it was going to be. We threw out Cameron Rich, we threw out Tate Lytle, kind of guys we expected. And then by the end there, we were like, well, they may not. They may just be dicing for the lead the whole time. We've seen guys not be able to pull away. Cameron Rich has been able to pull over a second on Tate Lytle. And, Lutz is known for toying with the field. And I think you're absolutely right. Rich was kind of just baiting Tate to use his stuff up.
When Cameron hits his lines in a race, when he gets in the groove, it's hard to beat Cam. Just an experience of racing with him for a good 6-7 years almost. One of the best that I've seen run. And he has a lot of bad luck, and again, he puts himself in some risky positions sometimes. But when he hits it, he's tough to beat.
Crumps moved past Nick Massey. Massey burned his tires off trying to get around Ethan Burrell. Could not do it. Now he's offered Scott Crump up a chance to try to get around that 37 car. Burrell has run a pretty fantastic race up in 5th. I don't think he's left the top 5. Adams has been able to pull away a little bit from Kwame Scott. That leaves Adams in 3rd, Kwame in 4th. Look back through the running order. One guy I think we haven't mentioned today is Joe Francis, who is now going after Matthew Bayuk for 13th. A really strong run.
Joe qualified back there with me, so he's worked his way up from the 30s.
24th is the starting spot for Francis, but he is up to 14th, and he's actually getting passed by Daniel Martinez right now. But again, inside line, he's able to hold him off for now. Bayuk is also right there, one of the chasers. Pretty good battle. It's right in front of Nick Indelicato, who has worked his way up to 16th. So Indelicato's really minimized the damage from a otherwise pretty terrible race. I mean, he's been in the wall, he's been in other cars, he's been involved in a big wreck. I'll certainly take a 16th place finish after all that.
It's a really, really good day, all things considering, for Indelicato.
Seems like they've gotten some of that damage fixed. He might actually go after Francis for 15th right here. He might have the speed to do it. Up front, Tate Lytle's cut at 2/10 out of the lead of Cameron Rich, but that is pretty meaningless given that it's a 1-second lead. Other than that, I mean, maybe the battle between Crump and Burrell is kind of close, but it's been kind of more of the same. Francis couldn't get off the corner right there because of the lapper. Bayuk's going to lose that spot to Martinez. Martinez has that inside line working right now.
I didn't think a guy we haven't mentioned either, Wyatt Naddle, in 12th, having a really, really good run. Wyatt, it's been fast, a little inconsistent, but he put together a really strong finish here tonight.
3 to go. It's not over yet, Johnny. Don't do it to us. Oh, and Harrison hit the wall. See what I mean?
The wall. Harry's known for bringing out these last lap cautions.
Francis able to hold off and Delicato up here, and it is funny. We got Isabella and Bayuk there on the screen after that run in. Though we kind of deemed it a bit of a racing deal, but it's one of them racing deals after someone's already run into somebody else. But the final lap's already started. Cameron Rich has taken the flag. Isabella lets Bayuk by. Also, Delicato did get Joe Francis for 15. Cameron Rich into turn 3. He has dominated this race. And Cameron Rich will win the Bat Flip Podcast 150. Scott Crump got Ethan Burrell.
Heck of a run for Cam getting the win. Good run for Scott getting the top 5. Guys, I'm going to jump off. I'm going to go back to the admin group. I will see you. Thank you for letting me be up here and participate. I will be back up here at Homestead for the season finale.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny. Well, Carlos, you got the pick this time.
I don't know, David. I got it last week. Carlos got it this week. No pressure on you for next week.
I gotta line somebody up. It seems like my picks tend to underperform. They start out really strong and then they fall off a little bit. But yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll get one. Cameron Rich, the race winner, and taking a number of points out of the deficit that he faced after last week. Tate Lytle second. Josh Adams finishes third. That's your podium. Those will be the guys we're interviewing here. Kwame Scott drives from 31st to 4th, and in a really strong run. Scott Crump picks up a top 5. Then it'll be Ethan Burrell, Nick Massey, Mark Whitley, Jared Mogard, and Dylan Thomas rounding out the top 10. And we got Josh Adams in the waiting room here, so let me bring him in. Josh, it's David in the TV booth. You got me, buddy?
I do.
No, really strong run for you, man. From 19th to 3rd, seemed like you had that outside line working early in the run. How was the drive going through the field there at first? And then did you ever think you had anything for Cam or Tate?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun coming through the field, especially when you can pass on the bottom and the top. I honestly did think I would have had something for him, but you guys saw it. I coming up through, I wore out my tires in the second run, wore them out on the outside, and then the last run I gave a more conservative approach and just rolled the bottom for forever, and I was feeling really good. And I started to go, and I just had nothing. Like, I was just kind of confused how he was sitting out there just like running a pace and not falling off at all, saving his tires and still pulling away.
Well, the other thing, Josh, that we talked about was your kind of bad luck going in, to the rest of the season. And I think this is the first time we've interviewed you all year, aside from coming out of the infield care center. So. This does have to feel like a pretty good run for you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was, I said I was done with this season, but there's a lot of good tracks in this chase. So, I figure I'll I'll do them. And when we don't have a caution fest, it's actually fun, and a lot of people actually finish races, and it's really fun when you actually get to run green. Like a lot of people, it seems like they don't want that, but we did really good tonight.
Yeah, man. And then I'll have to check where next week is, but in terms of going for that best of the rest spot, how are you feeling now after this really good run? And with like you said, with those good tracks coming up for you, yeah, I guess how are you feeling about being able to take home that 13th place?
I think I have a 0% chance at that. Yeah, I
Johnny
think
lied
this
to
is
me.
only like the third or fourth race I think I've actually seen the checkered flag in, if even that. So
Well, no,
we're not looking
no,
forward to that, but I'm gonna go and try and win. I think we've got Talladega maybe or something, and then Nashville Super Speedway. Try and win one of those two.
it's Nashville next time. So, but Josh, Johnny did reset the points for everybody who'd run a certain number of races. So
Oh, is
your
that right?
deficit got cut. Yeah, you're 14th in points after tonight.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well then we've got a 99.9% chance of really having a good shot at getting that. So you changed my fortunes and I didn't even know it.
All right, well, good race, Josh. And you got any shout outs for us before we send you off?
Well, my car is completely blank, so no. But just a shout out to the 35 people that started this race, because we haven't seen that all year. And just my teammates, Kwame and Nick. They didn't want to see Tate beat them, I'm sure, but they both had good runs. Johnny for putting the league on. You guys for doing a good broadcast. That's probably one a lot of people actually go back and watch. So yeah, it's a pretty good night.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot, and hope you have a good rest of the season.
Thank you.
And that's Josh Adams, the third place finisher, and now we'll grab Tate Lytle, the runner-up. Tate, it's David in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Tate, second tonight, first last week, points lead. How are you feeling after that one?
Pretty good. I mean, I had more pace than I thought I would have tonight. I normally not the best at Iowa, but we were able to. I felt until that last run. I thought I had the best long run speed, but Cam was, I think, a little bit better there on the long run, and there's a couple guys back there that probably a little bit more long run speed, just didn't have the track position, but came out flying in qualifying. Qualified second, led some laps early, and then I don't know. I shouldn't have been saving as much as I was there that second or third run and let those guys go by, and I just was faster than Adams most of that run. Just had zero way of getting by him, and with his teammates behind me, he wasn't just going to give it to me. So it didn't make it any easier, but I wish I would have kept my track position, because I think that's what ended up losing me the race. I think I could have held off Cam had I gotten in front of him. It was so hard to pass, but good race nonetheless. Qualified P2, got third place stage points, second in the race. It's hard to complain about that. Good points night. Should take maybe a 10 or 11 point lead into Nashville, and yeah, it's kind of what you got to do in these chase races. You just got to limit the mistakes and just get what you can. I got to thank Days Gone By Vintage Racing Apparel, Brent Wentz. Go check him out, daysgoneby.com. He's got it linked in his Twitter and Instagram, and I'm sure his Facebook too. Super cool guy, lots of super cool racing memorabilia on his site, so go check that out. Shout out to JD Designs for the Pimp and Ride, Johnny for not giving up on the league after the horrendous show we put on last week, and you guys watching us race fake race cars for an hour and a half or more. Shout out to Dad, Louise, Lauren, if you guys are still watching. I'm sure Dad is. I don't know about the other two, but shout out to them. They're always watching. I don't know. I sent Mom the link. I doubt she's watching, but if she is, shout out Mom. She probably turned it off by now, even if she was. But yeah, cool to have them watch. I wish I could have parked it in Victory Lane for second week in a row, but I'll take P2 at Iowa for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. And looking forward to Nashville Super Speedway. What do you think you're gonna be able to hold that points lead?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can. I ran good there in the elite race a couple weeks ago. Made one mistake, put me from first to third, and I could never really recover from there. But I think I'll have just as good a speed as anybody. But in a chase race like this, it comes down to the same thing. You gotta limit the mistakes, take what you can get. If you're running sixth, try and finish fourth. If it's not there, it's not there. But if you're running sixth and you're trying too hard to get to fourth and you end up ninth, that's what loses you championships. So just gotta go out there. I'm sure we'll have some decent speed, but just make no mistakes and just do what you can to at the end there and try and just maximize points. It's going to be a fun chase, be an entertaining one. We got Talladega coming up, Atlanta, Homestead. I mean, it's going to be lots of good tracks for me, but also for everyone else. So stacked chase. Glad to be leading it right now, and hopefully we can just keep extending the point lead to where we can kind of separate ourselves from a couple of those guys. So I haven't looked at the points yet, but I'm sure Cam gained 9 or 10 on us. He had max points tonight, so shout out to him. I told him before the race, I was like, man, there was Camerons that finished first and second at the Open Championship, Cameron Smith and I forget about that other guy's name. It doesn't matter though. And I was like, maybe it's your turn tonight, and I'm sure Carlos picked him, or was this the one night you didn't, Carlos?
He picked him.
You did?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. I was thinking about that with like 5 to go. I was like, man, that's probably the one night Carlos didn't pick him. But thanks again, guys. Sorry for taking up all your time here, but have a good one, and congrats to Cam. That was a fun race.
Yep. Have a good one, Tate. Congrats on the second place finish, buddy.
Thank you.
Tate Lytle, the runner-up finisher. Now let me go grab Cameron Rich. Cam, it's David in the TV booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. What's up, David?
Well, looked like a pretty dominant win from you tonight, man. Seemed like it was pretty clear sailing once you got by Tate there on that one restart.
I think the thorn in my side the first half of the race was that 15 car. I don't know if that was Vincent or Ryan Newman in there, because every time I got near him, I just couldn't make the pass. He drove a really good race, and Tate was on my butt the whole race too. It was not as easy as it probably looked. I was scared to death in the car, just trying to, make up points and do what I could, because the last week was honestly a disaster. I screwed the pooch at Darlington and finished like 20 something. So I think I got the stage points and I got the win tonight, which is about everything I could do, I guess. Just trying to keep in that championship hunt.
Yeah, you've cut the lead down to 21-point gap. So how do you approach, going after a guy like Tate, who's going to be on your bumper if you happen to beat him? How do you go about, approaching beating him by enough to be able to gain similarly to what you did tonight next week in Nashville?
Well, do some practice, hopefully, and there's like 10 other guys there in the chase or so that have the same mindset, that want to go out there and do the same thing and win. I think Kwame finished like 4th or something, so it's just going to be hard to gain points, and with everybody, these guys are all in the chase for a reason, because they've been good all year. So just, you got to be perfect now. Can't have stupid things like I did last week and get involved in a wreck at Darlington. It's got to be perfect from here on out if you want to win the championship. This Tate's not gonna, he's probably not gonna screw the pooch, or he doesn't want to. I know that. So he's gonna be tough here on out, I think.
For sure, man. And yeah, and how about Carlos picking you there tonight and getting him a win? I know that was the first thing on your mind all night, was that Carlos picked you tonight.
Absolutely, I appreciate you, Carlos.
You got any other shout outs for us here, Cam, before we send you off?
Absolutely. First off, my team owner, Kyle Hanshaw, he's going to be one of the flaggers at the SRX race, so that's pretty cool. Sharon Speedway. Harpoon Designs, Bum and Beaver Brewery. Unfortunately, not on the car tonight. Had a kind of a trade paints issue, so that'll be fixed next week. And of course, all you guys at 3 Wide TV for the broadcasts each and every week. I know this championship is going to be a really, really fun battle to the end. I think we got 5 races to go and some really, really good drivers. So it's going to be definitely a fight. And I want to give a shout out to my fiance too, Caitlin. She watched the race, and I want to say I love you.
And we always see Caitlin in the YouTube chat. She always supports you. So good win, Cam. Congratulations, and have a good celebration tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that was Cameron Rich, the race winner. And Dom, final thoughts here before we finish up Iowa and start going to Nashville.
Well, if it's anything like the first 2 races, there's one guy that's definitely took a firm grip here and going to be the one to beat. We know that Johnny let us in on a little inside secret about him, but someone's going to have to slow down Tate Lytle if they want to win this championship.
I think you're absolutely right. And we got I think 7, 8 guys now within a single race in terms of points. 60 points is a single race, and everybody all the way back to Mark Whitley within 60 points now. So it has tightened up a little bit. Mogard, Whitley, Burrell, and Delicato able to kind of manage their gaps tonight. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, next week, it's going to be all about beating Tate Lytle, and Kwame Scott might just be the guy to do that. He's still sitting second in points, 11 back. So with that, for Carlos Acosta, Dom Santina, I'm David Westergreen. This has been ERSCA, sponsored by Belly Up Sports on 3 Wide TV. We'll catch you next week.